Evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. There are so many other places that you could have been, but you chose to be here. I'm Dr. Jackie McMorris, your county manager, and I'm here to welcome you to our second annual State of the County with our chairwoman, Lisa Hughley. It is a pleasure, indeed a pleasure, to see each of you out here tonight. I just want to thank you because, but for you, we're not able to do what we do. And so it's very important that we come together every once in a while as a community and just celebrate what we've accomplished, share where we're going, and just fellowship with each other. So you all, are you ready to have a good time tonight? Yeah. Are you ready to have a good time tonight? My 3-year-old grandson says, Nana, let's do this. So we started the day off very, very, very exciting. It is a National Day of Prayer, and we kicked it off at the Galleria this morning with an awesome event of remembering that we are all connected to each other. We all serve a purpose if we choose to seek it to be on this earth, right? So we are here tonight, and we're going to have a wonderful time. I would just like to ask if you are an elected official or want to be an elected official, you will please stand so we can recognize you. Let's give them a hand. All of our elected officials, if you're out there, in a moment. Clergy, if you're out there, let's stand, please. Stand, clergy, and let's give them a hand. Members of the military, if you're out there, thank you for your service. Public safety personnel, public safety, police safety, I tell you, it just brought it all home again on how much we appreciate you and never ever let it be thought that we take you for granted. And if we do, we ask for forgiveness right now because we should never do that. Those who are out there who make me look good in my intensified pink, my red, for my sisters and my Kappa brothers, Kappa red, it is intensified pink. I would like to ask all of my department heads, agency directors, and county employees, again, who make me look good, who make the Board of Commissioners look good, would you all please stand and thank you for giving us your time. Thank you so much. To live, work, and play, and it is because in part of you. So thank you for your service to the county. Before I take my seat, I just want to introduce one other person. You may notice there's someone else on the stage with me. This is Allison Chu, and Allison is going to be capturing tonight everything that we do in what I call a story map. That's probably not right, Allison. That, okay? He is a freelance visual sketch artist, and before the end of the night, he will exit out to the foyer, and we will see his work displayed of what has taken place tonight. So let's give Allison a hand. Again, thank you all for being here. Welcome to Cobb County. We love you. We thank you. It is an honor to serve you. And at this time, I would like to ask those who are participating in the invocation to make their way to the stage, followed by the awesome Osborne High School, and let's give a shout out to Principal Jones. Thank you all for being here. Have a great time tonight.
Good evening. Hine matovu b'naim shevet achim gam yachad. The words of Psalm 133. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to be together. I'm Rabbi Larry Cernovitz. It's an honor to be here this evening. I see you. I love you, usually there's quiet. Because people don't know enough to say I love you back, because that's how we begin. If we don't begin with love, nothing else happens. So I love you, Cobb County. There we go. Turn to your neighbor. Share your love with them too. Go ahead. Why don't you take a moment to do that? I could say amen right there and end, but you know, it all begins with love, seeing and being seen. That is how community is built, but it's not always how community acts. So tonight, as we all bear witness to the 2023 State of the County Address by Chairwoman Cupid, we must not only listen but show up. Our prayers mean nothing, especially on this National Day of Prayer, if we don't show God that we are a part of the continuing act of creation. Not what we can take, but what we can give. Today, let us pledge ourselves to take action. When tonight is said and done, how will we be involved in making our community the best it can be? For those who know their Bible, you know that God tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves just once in the Hebrew Bible. But God tells us to love the stranger 36 times. 36. We are human beings and we constantly need reminders. God knows we forget so many things. And not only what our spouses tell us to do and we forget to do. We also forget that today we were blessed with a new day when not everyone is so blessed. As Dr. Jackie just shared, tonight we pray for the family of 38-year-old Amy St. Pierre of Atlanta, who lost her life yesterday at Northside Hospital. And we are grateful also to our law enforcement in Cobb County who responded quickly, along with the city of Atlanta and Smyrna. But when they came to Cobb County, it was all over. Tonight, let us thank God for our lives, which are in God's hands, and our souls, which are in God's keeping day by day, sustaining us. Our neighbor is one we love because they're like us. The stranger is one we're commanded to love precisely because they're not like us. Loving the stranger is not banning books that teach the reality of Holocaust, or on my way down here having to see another billboard that says, in a place too busy to hate, why was there another swastika in my kid's school? Which happened yesterday at Mount Bethel Elementary. Loving the stranger is not making threats on HBCUs or targeting Asians, Muslims, or members of the LGBTQ community. Loving the stranger is making the lives of all God's children as sweet, as precious, and as beautiful as we want the lives of our own children to be. Where one does not have to worry about being assaulted because of their race, religion, gender, and other identity characteristics. Rather, they're loved because of who they are and the gifts that they bring, which makes our community stronger. It's a place where we recognize that our diversity is our strength. And sometimes this is painful at first. But in the long run, we're better for it. So friends, every day is a new day, one filled with blessing and opportunity, should we open our eyes and our hearts to receive. God knows that we aren't so good about seeing the blessings around us. So many people would rather complain than turn their prayers into action. If we open our eyes just for a moment, we would see here that in Cobb County, we are not only blessed with opportunity, but we are overwhelmed with opportunity. The Atlanta Business Chronicle recently said Cobb and its busiest commercial districts occupy the edge of Atlanta, but it's at the center of the region's growth. As we know, but as we grow, who will we actually become? Will we turn our backs on the poor, the orphan, the stranger, and so many vulnerable populations who also call Cobb County their home. We use our gifts and our treasures to lift up those in need. All of Metro Atlanta, and for that matter, these United States of America, are watching here in Cobb County to see what we will do, how we can be a shining example of what our world can look like. It will take all of us. It's not an individual project, but as Mayor Andre Dickens often says, this is a group project. So, dear friends, let us pray. Dear God, bless us this evening here in Cobb County. Bless our national and our local leaders here. Give them strength and courage to do your will as they represent all who call Cobb County and the great state of Georgia their home. God, you endow us with the knowledge that freedom is never free, and that we cannot take our community for granted or silence the voices of those who disagree with us. The opposite is true. Bless each of our leaders and ourselves with the gift of vision and hearing. Remind all of us that we've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen more than we speak, and that we may hear your voice and feel your presence in each other and seek to include rather exclude. May God bless each of you with discomfort at easy answers, half-truths, superficial relationships, so that you may live deep within your heart. May God bless you with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people, so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer pain, rejection, hunger, and war, so that you may reach out to your hand to comfort them and turn their pain to joy. May God bless you, each of you, with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world, so that you can do what others claim cannot be done, to bring justice and kindness to all our children and all those in need. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot, shalom aleinu. Blessed are you, dear God, who places your shelter of peace upon us, upon our dear children, on Cobb County, and on these United States of America. And let us say, Amen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I thought you can hear me. I will recite the first 7 verses of the Quran in Arabic first, and then the meaning, and then give my feeling about our chairwoman and the work that she is doing. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful, all the praises and thanks be to God, the Lord of the worlds, the most beneficent, the most merciful, the only owner of the day of recompense. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask help for. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those who earn your favor and bestow your grace upon them, not of those who earn your anger, not of those who are astray. Amen. Every man is a brother with his fellow man. Every woman is a sister to her fellow sisters. No one is superior except to their piety and the content of their character. The Quran, which is the direct words of God, tells us that He created us in different nations and tribes by which we can learn from each other, not separate from each other. We are taught to learn from our differences, celebrate these differences, concentrate on the similarities, and have respect for our sisters and brothers, regardless of their religion, color, ethnic background, or gender. I've lived in Cobb County since 1989 and have an opportunity to work with so many past chairpersons, Sam Olens, Tim Lee, Mike Boyce. And I've felt every time that, since I've lived in Cobb County, the Cobb County constantly worked, and these leaders worked in the direction where we can make the county to really live work, and play, and enjoy the benefits of that. I've seen how our parks areas have grown in so many beautiful parks now where you can enjoy with your families. Once I had an opportunity to meet our current chairwoman, Commissioner Cupid, I realized that Lisa is also someone who's ready to work with everyone and welcome diversity. But one thing that I noticed, that she is really concerned about the entire county, including the areas where development is not as fast as some of the areas see it today. And I think you know what areas we may be talking about. She is ready to help the rich, the poor of the county alike. And that's what attracts us towards helping her, doing things with her, that when I've seen her, how quickly any food drive is happening, how her or her staff is present and how they can help with the county. And this is where I think we will lead to make sure that the county is welcoming all of us in all of our ways that we exist. Merciful God, the compassionate, the beneficial, giver of life, freedom, responsibility, insight, justice, forgiveness, and mercy. We come to you knowing that you are always present, never absent, always willing and able to answer sincere prayers, hope, and aspirations. Guide us to peace, justice, and fulfillment in our homes, city, nation, and county. Give us leaders and representatives who are honest, decent, upright, committed, compassionate, trusting, trustworthy, insightful, and thinking visionaries and servants. And I underlined servants. Fortify them and us, enlighten them and us, obligate them and us, guide them and us, help them to help us, help our families, our home, our neighborhoods, our cities, and our people to deepen our commitment, strengthen to resolve, broaden our involvement, expand our hearts, fulfill our souls, enlighten our minds, and give us victory over wrong, weakness, injustice, and ignorance. We ask you, O God, to answer our prayers. In your name I pray. Amen.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Respondo en nombre de Dorcas Lavoy.
My name is Dorcas Lavoy.
Soy pastora de la iglesia History Makers.
I'm the pastor of the History Makers Church.
Y para mí es un honor estar aquí ante ustedes en esta noche.
And for me, it's an honor to be before you tonight.
Les doy las gracias
I would like to thank,
primeramente a la honorable señora Lisa Cupid
firstly, to Honorable Chairwoman Lisa Cupid
por darme el honor
to give me the honor
de esta noche
for tonight,
poderme unir a cada uno de ustedes
to be able to unite to everyone
para
here,
elevar una oración a Dios
to elevate a prayer to God
por el comienzo de este gran evento
for the beginning, the start of this great event,
que sabemos que hablaremos de una historia
that we know that we're going to talk about a history
fuerte
strong,
que se formará y se escribirá
that it will be written
en Cobb County.
and formed in Cobb County.
Pero quiero que antes de orar
But before we pray,
nos podamos unir
that we get united
con propósito de oración.
with a purpose of prayer.
Primero quiero invitarle a que nos unamos a orar
Firstly, I would like for everyone to get united in prayer,
para invitar al Dios Todopoderoso
to invite the God, the strong God,
a que se haga presente en esta reunión,
so He can be present in this meeting,
iluminando nuestras vidas,
illuminating our lives,
revelando su grande amor.
revealing His great love.
Y segundo, quiero que nos unamos a orar con un propósito.
And secondly, I would like for everyone to unite with a purpose.
Oremos por Cobb County.
Let's pray for Cobb County.
La Biblia registra
The Bible says
que un día a Jesús un hombre le preguntó,
that one day to Jesus, someone asked,
¿cuál es el principal y grande mandamiento?
what is the biggest amendment?
Y Jesús le contestó,
And Jesus responded,
amar a Dios
to God love,
y a tu
to love
prójimo
God and your neighbor
como a ti mismo.
like you love yourself.
Este hombre quedó sin palabras y sin respuesta.
This man was speechless,
Y creo que debemos en esta noche, les quiero invitar
and tonight I would like to invite you,
a que si son tan amables,
if you are kind,
se pueden poner en pie
if you can stand up,
y hagamos una oración juntos.
and we'll all pray together.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Recuerden que vamos a orar con propósito y unidad.
Remember, we're going to pray with purpose and unity.
Usted y yo nos vamos a poner de acuerdo.
You and I are going to come in accordance,
Primero, para invitar al Dios Todopoderoso que se haga presente en esta reunión.
first to ask the Heavenly Father to be present in this meeting,
Recuerde que le dije iluminando y llenándonos de paz.
illuminating and filling our hearts with peace.
Y segundo,
And secondly,
oramos
we'll
para que
pray.
ese gran mandamiento
So
de amar a Dios
we love God
y amar al prójimo
and love each other,
se revele en nuestras vidas.
so it can be revealed in our
Y que
lives.
todo lo que hagamos,
And everything that we do,
honorable Lisa Cupid, todo lo que hagamos,
Honorable Chairwoman Lisa Cupid,
la base esté
everything that we do, the base is
en amar a Dios
to love God
y amar al prójimo.
and love each other.
Señor, te damos gracias
Heavenly Father, we give you thanks
porque en esta noche fuimos convocados
because tonight we are here
para escuchar una gran historia
to hear about a great history
de lo que haces y harás en Cobb County.
for what you have done and what you will do in Cobb County.
Te doy gracias por la vida de la honorable Lisa Cupid,
I give you thanks for the life of the Honorable Chairwoman Lisa Cupid,
que ha entregado su vida con pasión
that she has given her life with passion
para seguir construyendo un county mejor.
to continue building Cobb County.
Pero en esta noche te invitamos, Dios Todopoderoso,
Tonight we invite you, Heavenly Father,
a que te hagas presente en este lugar,
that you become present in this place,
iluminando nuestras vidas
illuminating our lives,
e impartiendo de tu amor
impartaking your love
y de tu paz.
and your peace.
También queremos unirnos en oración
We like to unite in prayer
para pedirte para que se cumpla en nosotros
to ask you that it will be fulfilled in our lives,
ese gran mandamiento,
that great amendment,
que lo vivamos y lo sintamos,
that we feel it and we live it,
que te amemos a ti
that we love you
y amemos a nuestro prójimo.
and we love our fellow.
Si ese amor permanece en nosotros,
If that love continues to remain in us,
todo lo que hagamos, Señor,
everything that we do,
exaltará tu nombre
it will exalt your name
y bendecirá a mi prójimo.
and it will bless my brother.
En el nombre de Jesús.
In the name of Jesus,
Amén.
amen.
Toca al que está al lado y dile, te bendigo.
Touch the person next to you and say, I
Deseo-
bless you
Y
and I wish
deseo
you
lo mejor
the best
para ti.
for you.
Gracias,
Thank you.
buenas noches
Good night.
y sigamos disfrutando.
And we continue to enjoy this place. And I said amendment, it's commandment, okay? Sorry.
Good evening. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Okay, that's great to hear. I was going to entertain you with some slides, but we had some miscommunication, so I'm going to have to do this old school and actually talk to you as humans. All right, so my name is Mike Carnathan, and I am the head of research and analytics with the Atlanta Regional Commission. And what I'm here to do today is just talk a little bit about how the Atlanta region has grown, how Cobb County fits into that, and talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we have as we move forward into the future. Now, I don't need to tell anybody in this room that Cobb County has been one of the most, has grown more than just about any other county over the last 50 years. It's been a very successful county. Since 1970, Cobb County has grown by more than 200%, so that's a tripling of the population. Now, ARC, who here has heard of ARC? Okay, so I don't need to give you the spiel about what ARC is. We're a comprehensive planning agency that really takes the comprehensive part very seriously. And so what that means is, we have lots of planning functions under one roof. And that means transportation planning, that's kind of what we're best known for. Water resources planning to make sure that, and that future generations have enough water. Land use, community development, making sure that, we maintain these great cities and great counties and great places that we live and work in. We also think about workforce development. So, thinking about, how do we retrain and reskill a population to make sure that we can continue powering the new economy. We also think about aging. And so, we're all getting older. And so we have to plan for a society that's significantly older than what it is today. So let's talk about what we're seeing at the ARC in terms of some of these big trends. And so in terms of population growth, you know that Metro Atlanta is one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the nation. Last decade, we ranked 4th in total population growth, behind Dallas, behind Houston, behind New York. And that's, relatively speaking, where we have been for the past 40 years. In other words, somewhere in the top 5 of overall growth, somewhere behind Houston, Dallas, New York, and maybe some other metropolitan areas in there. So over the last decade, Metro Atlanta added about 800,000 new residents, which sounds like a lot, right? Until you compare it to the growth we had in the 2000s, when we added a little bit more than 1 million people. Until you compare it to the 1990s, when we added 1.3 million people. So one of the things that we're looking at the Atlanta Regional Commission is overall population growth is slowing. And while Cobb County has been one of the fastest growing counties in the nation for the past 50 years, population growth is slowing in Cobb County as well. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that we are going to have to work a lot harder to attract that talent into our borders to power the new economy, and we're going to have to work a lot harder to grow that talent natively in our public education systems and our workforce development systems. And so that's one of the things that ARC is looking at in terms of, okay, what do we need to be focusing on in the future? And those are just 2 things. Now, I've talked about how much growth we've been getting, but it's really the composition of the growth that is particularly interesting. So, for the past 30 years in this region, pretty much every bit of population growth that we've gotten have come from populations of color. Every single bit of growth that we're going to get in the future, pretty much, is going to come from populations of color. And so the growth that we're going to be getting over the next 50 years is going to look a lot different than the growth that we've got in the previous 50 years. And so what does that mean for the types of conversations that we're having today? Or the types of conversations we're not having today? So that's going to have a big impact on how we drive forward in this region. Now, not only are we growing more diverse from a racial and ethnicity standpoint, we're also growing older. And we already said that. Hey, we're all growing older. But, the baby boom generation, that cohort that was born between 46 and 64, well, they're reaching retirement age. And the simple fact of the matter is, with population growth slowing and the aging of the population, well, those two things sort of interplay. And so in the region, in the 21 county area alone, we're expecting about 900,000 people to be 75 and older by 2050. Okay, just think about that for a little bit. 900,000. We're talking about a doubling of the share of population, more than doubling of the share of population who are going to be 75 and older. And so think about what that means. What does that mean for the transportation network of the future? What does that mean for housing of the future? What does that mean for the services that we're providing today that we may need to pivot and provide tomorrow? What does that mean for our current generation and their caregiving responsibilities moving forward? So the simple fact of the matter is, as a society, we've never really had to face a significant proportion of the population being 75 and older. All of our planning work, all of our planning energy, all the planning paradigms, and I'm coming from a planning agency, so we can talk to you about planning paradigms all you want, but most of it has been centered on having a large working age cohort. Well, in the future, we're going to have to think a little bit differently. And that's really the theme of this update, is we're going to have to start thinking a little bit differently, because the Atlanta region of tomorrow is going to look a lot different than the Atlanta region of yesterday. All right, so now I'm going to close up just by talking about a few of the challenges. One of the biggest challenges that we're going to face is affordable housing. If you ask anybody at the Atlanta Regional Commission, hey, what's the biggest threat to our future prosperity? To a person at ARC, they're going to say affordable housing. Now, and I don't really need to tell you this, because you can drive around and you sense it and you feel it. But in Cobb County, home prices have gone up 65% since 2015. That's just 7 years, 65%. And so we're talking about a median or an average home sale price of somewhere around $460,000. So think about low income, moderate income folks. And then this is not just a Cobb County thing, this is a regional thing, this is an urban American thing. So think about the low income, moderate income, single parent household who want to move here to try to get more opportunity, because hey, we do have that competitive advantage, right? We're one of the fastest growing places for a reason, is because we do offer great amenities and great opportunities. Are we failing that promise by not providing affordable housing? Yes, I think we are. Second thing that we really need to think about is the workforce. Now, not only do we just need to be thinking about, okay, with the way that the jobs are changing, and with just the way that the economy is changing, we need a new type of worker. We need somebody to take these, we're really moving from a goods producing economy to a service providing economy, and that service providing economy needs new skills. Skills that, really weren't even in demand 30, 40, 50 years ago, but are going to become increasingly more in demand in the future. And I've already said that we're already sort of up against it, right? We're already seeing population growth slowing, so we're going to have a harder time attracting people to Metro Atlanta. So we need to double down on our public education system and our workforce development systems to grow that talent natively. And further with that, we also have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is going to pump billions of dollars into the Metro Atlanta economy. And these are things that are going to build, roadways. But they're also going to build a new type of infrastructure, broadband. We're talking about electrification. We're talking about EV fleets. We're talking about water and climate resiliency. Skills that, again, we need to adapt our workforce to take those jobs. But where are we going to find the workforce for these? If we don't figure that out, we're going to squander a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to modernize our infrastructure. And then one last thing that I'll leave us with, and this really comes down to really creating an economy that works for everybody. And so if you look at some of the unique features of the Atlanta region, we have a lot going for us, and I've talked about that. But we also have some unique features that we aren't proud of. We rank almost dead last in upward economic mobility. So the ability for someone from the lowest rung of the economy to rise to the highest rung. We struggle with we struggle with income inequality. And we see it you can drive around. Everywhere in this region, you'll see the haves and the have-nots. And that's really affecting everything that we're doing in this region. Poverty and income are so highly correlated with things like student success, with your health care, with your ability to get a job, with your ability to get education. And so if we don't start thinking long and hard about how to create that economy that works for everyone, not just for the few, we'll probably be talking about a whole different story in this region 30, 40 years from now. So I appreciate the time to talk to you. I'm very excited to see everyone here, and that's all I have. Thanks, guys.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually happy to follow Mike with that ARC update because I'm Sabrina Wright, Economic Development Director here at Cobb County Government. We're the economic development agency for the county, where our mission is to support job creation, business expansion, and capital investment in the county. In doing so, we strive to improve the quality of life for all Cobb residents, while also supporting businesses and entrepreneurs throughout the county. The pandemic truly impacted the way businesses operate across the globe, and thanks to the leadership of Chairwoman Cupid and the entire Cobb County Board of Commissioners, Cobb County has committed to going the distance to support economic development in this great community. Congress enacted the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, most of you know that as ARPA, to provide relief to government entities so that they could alleviate some of the strain and the negative impacts that businesses faced as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Cobb County received a portion of those dollars and committed to finding the best and the most equitable uses for those funds. After a lengthy process of stakeholder engagements and focus group meetings, our leadership at Cobb County chose to allocate roughly $22 million toward economic development issues in Cobb County. Those dollars will be focused into 4 economic development subgroups to include workforce development, small and minority-owned businesses, hospitality and tourism, and women and minority-owned business. Economic development is a team sport, and we can't do that alone at the county. As such, we are partnering with numerous agencies throughout the county and nonprofit organizations to ensure that these funds are used to their maximum impact and that they're also distributed and utilized as they were intended and approved by our Board of Commissioners. For instance, Cobb County has partnered with Select Cobb to create a small business grant for licensed child care programs in the county. This grant is based on the number of employees, and it is for eligible licensed child care providers in the county, where they could receive up to $2,500 per employee, up to $20,000. Applications for this grant open May 9th through June 9th. Cobb County has also partnered with Cobb Works to support the BOSS Young Professional Career Exploration Program, which provides funding for summer jobs and year-round opportunities for Cobb youth. This opportunity supports not only those youth in finding careers and job pathways, but it also supports our businesses in Cobb County so that they're able to train young workforce in Cobb County to take on those jobs and to fill those positions that they may have challenges filling at this moment. Cobb Travel and Tourism is also administering grants of up to $20,000 to support the small business, hospitality, and tourism, and the arts in Cobb. So we're diversifying our dollars from ARPA so that we're reaching a myriad of organizations and a variety of group of businesses throughout Cobb County to support our workforce. Funds are also available through programming with Family Life Restoration Center, the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, Greater Wealth Works, and a host of other economic development partners to support workforce development, job training, small business sustainability, and more throughout the county. More information about these grants and Cobb's use of ARPA funding as a whole can be found on our website at cobbcounty.org on our communications page. I want to thank Chairwoman Lisa Cupid, as well as the Cobb County Board of Commissioners for their commitment and dedication to economic development, job creation, and business growth in the county. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Mike from the ARC actually stole my speech, so I'm going to do a different one. My name is Nick Adams, and I serve as the Division Chief for Cobb County Fire Emergency Services in the EMS, or Emergency Medical Services Division. Our organization, through the support of the Cobb County Board of Commissioners and the Department of Public Safety, have used ARPA funds to make Cobb County a safer place for the citizens and visitors who live, work, and play here. There are 4 main projects that I'd like to tell you about tonight. First, we improved our ability to respond to mass casualty events, such as the active shooter incident that happened in Atlanta yesterday. We've also improved our capabilities to respond to long-term disasters like the pandemic. We've expanded our co-responder teams, which I'll explain a little bit in further detail in just a moment, to handle behavioral health emergencies more appropriately. We've advanced our ability to treat heart, breathing, injury, and stroke emergencies from the moment we reach your door all the way through the continuum of care after you leave the hospital. Finally, we created a hiring incentive to help us hire and retain more firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, law enforcement officers, and 911 dispatchers. Let me briefly describe each one of these programs. During the COVID pandemic, our healthcare system nationwide was strained beyond its capacity. At times, hospitals were extremely overcrowded. Concurrently, we were facing a major healthcare shortage. Because the hospitals were full, our ambulances were sitting on the ramp with patients inside waiting to be admitted. This created a crisis in our community because there were less ambulances to respond to emergencies and take people to the hospital. To combat this issue, Cobb Fire replaced 6 of our paramedic rescue trucks with vehicles that could safely transport a patient to the hospital if no ambulances were available. These vehicles will be invaluable during mass casualty incidents such as what happened yesterday in Atlanta. The second project is expanding our co-responder program known as PATH. Cobb County Department of Public Safety, along with Cobb Police, Sheriff, and Fire, have partnered with Highland Rivers CSB, who is the county's behavioral health providers, to create teams that consist of specially trained law enforcement officers, a community paramedic, and a licensed mental health clinician. This team responds to people in crisis and behavioral health emergencies and is trained in de-escalation techniques. Since this team's inception, they have significantly reduced the arrest rate of people suffering behavioral health by 87%. They've also reduced the amount of ER admissions by 74% by dealing with these crises appropriately and getting them to the right care. Another aspect of our co-responder teams is our Cobb Fire Cares team. This consists of 2 paramedics, we call them community paramedics, that respond out to the community for people who are high utilizers of our 911 system. And like Mike from our ARC said earlier today, our community is aging, and it's aging rapidly and it's aging in place. And as we continue to age in place in our homes, occasionally we don't know what the right resources are to get help. So what do? We call 911. So these community paramedics are progressively or actively reaching out to individuals who are high utilizers of the 911 system and offering them the resources they need. It could be as simple as adding a grab bar in a shower or a ramp to a door or just setting somebody up with Meals on Wheels. They have also reduced recidivism of 911 calls by 74%, and they've reduced the amount of fall and lift assist calls in the entire county by 6%. That's significant. That's 6% less people in our community who are falling and getting injured, which could potentially lead to a downfall in their health. We also added 30 advanced cardiac monitors to every fire engine and rescue vehicle in Cobb County. These advanced monitors are able to detect heart abnormalities, breathing abnormalities, stroke, traumatic brain injury, and other injuries. They're also able to immediately transmit this information to the hospital so that your care starts as soon as the first fire engine or fire rescue vehicle arrives. And finally, in order to carry out these initiatives, it was important to make sure that Cobb County continues to have the best public safety agencies in the Southeast, if not in the nation. We did everything we could through the Board of Commissioners approved incentives to attract some of the best firefighters, police officers, EMTs, paramedics, and 911 dispatchers in the nation to come work right here in Cobb County and make sure we're fully staffed to respond to your emergencies. While I hope you never need any of those services, I hope that you'll be glad that those are there just in case you need them and we can respond. I'd like to personally thank the Board of Commissioners for supporting us in this mission to make Cobb County a safer space, and thank you to the citizens for supporting public safety. Thank you very much.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Janet Memark. I'm the District Health Director for Cobb and Douglas Public Health, and I'm here to talk a little bit about some of the work that we'll be doing with ARPA funds as well. I really want to first go ahead and thank the Board of Commissioners and Chairwoman Cupid for all of their support with getting the ARPA funds distributed. I know a lot of counties, you don't hear a lot about this and how the funds were kind of used, and in Cobb County it was extremely transparent, and so much of the funds went directly to the community and to help the community, and so I'm really very appreciative of that. For those of you that don't know, Cobb and Douglas Public Health does a community health assessment every 5 years. It's a titillating 800 pages of reading that you all can read on our website, but it talks about the major health problems that our community is facing. And so that goes from things like chronic diseases to unintentional deaths, which include accidental poisonings where opioids fall under. And we've seen a lot more of that, as well as mental health issues as well. And so a lot of these, we had problems with them before, and now they're worsened due to the pandemic. And so a lot of that, what we had learned about the community through working with our hospitals and communities and focus groups as well, we learned that what the major issues were in our community, and we used that to help us to guide us with a request for ARPA funding. So different things that we requested. So many of you don't know, when I started this job about 5 years ago, probably my first week on the job, Chair Cupid, she was Commissioner Cupid at that time, called me and asked to meet me in South Cobb, and she said, there's an access to healthcare problem here in South Cobb. And I was like, okay, I don't even know where South Cobb is, but okay, we'll, and she wanted me to work on that right away. And I said, okay, I can't do anything right now, but I promise that we will work on that. And we have. And so what we have found through our community health assessment was that we got a lot of health issues that are in South Cobb, and the chair was correct. A lot of that is due to lack of access to health care. So we started, and we started a plan to build a South Cobb Health Center to provide more healthcare access to the community in South Cobb. And so we put a lot of our money that we had in reserves, and the chair helped us as well as the commissioners with ARPA funding to really get us more than halfway there. So we are now about, I think we're only $3 million shy of having a beautiful health center out there that will be multi-functional with primary care and different services. So thank you so very much. We really could not have done that without the support from the commissioners and the chair. Many of you, we think about Cobb County being really one of the most fortunate counties in Georgia. But, we tend to forget at times there we do have vulnerable communities here that, don't have access to health care, and that includes our pregnant mommies as well. And so we have a lot of women that do not have access to perinatal care and prenatal care when they're pregnant. And, when you start off on the wrong foot, you know that, it's just really hard to recoup after that. And so we received funding through ARPA to support a program that actually will help mothers and babies, or mothers who do not have access to prenatal care and other resources, helps them to get prenatal care, to pay for it, and to also provide resources to them to help them have the healthiest pregnancy that they can. So we're very excited about that. That will help our community directly. We discussed mental health. So, mental health is all over the board. You're going to see that on everything. We are seeing it in suicides, unfortunately. We are seeing it in opioid and substance abuse. We are seeing it in so many different areas at this time. And so one of the areas that we had looked at, we have a task force that has over 60 different stakeholders in it, looking at the opioid problem in Cobb County. At one point, we had the #1 number of deaths in the state, in our county, from opioid abuse. And so we looked at that, and we talked with our partners, and we put in an ARPA request that works with our partners at fire as well as sheriffs to do some harm reduction and some education, and really try to help folks get them to where they need to go once they've had an event, and hopefully if they are able to survive that, so that we can try to prevent them from going through that again. So we look forward to working with our partners on that. Another thing so this is kind of from the pandemic that started. A lot of you don't know, so if you lose a loved one or somebody dies in a hospital or at home, sometimes it gets categorized as maybe respiratory failure, respiratory death, pneumonia, these kind of things. But you don't actually know exactly why that person died. And when the pandemic happened, you all remember when we didn't know what was happening at first, right? We didn't know how to test this thing. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know how it killed people, but we did know that a lot of people were dying at first. So our medical examiner's office, which is amazing, they worked with our offices to be able to test post-mortemly, test patients that had died to find out exactly why they had died. And so they were able to pinpoint, was it COVID? Was it COVID and flu? Was it flu? Was it RSV? What was it? And that became a model throughout the nation, actually. And so they have had that grant extended, and then through ARPA, we'd be able to keep it going even further, and to be able to continue to identify what is happening. You can tell that helps us a whole lot to tell, why people are what they're suffering from in the community, right? So we're very excited about that. And lastly, it's probably not the sexiest thing that we do, but we do work on septic tanks, right? So we help to approve them if things go wrong, and unfortunately, if you have one running down the street, you call us. And so don't call me, you call us. But during the pandemic, in times of hardship, and maybe not even, but in communities that struggle, and people that struggle, a lot of us, even due to inflation, are possibly struggling at this time. When you get a septic tank that breaks down, I don't know if you all know, but sometimes it costs as much as a Honda Civic to put a new septic tank in. And so it is very expensive. A lot of people, when I had one, I remember it was like, at that time, $800 just to do a routine maintenance on it, right? A lot of people don't have that funding to be able to do that. And when it gets bad, it gets really bad, right? They can't do the repairs and they can't do the maintenance. Well, we got some funding. We're very excited to help some of our folks who are unable to afford the repairs on septic tanks to apply for a grant so that they can get funding to help to repair that. So we're very excited. That's going to help a lot of our community directly. So, and a lot of the stuff is on our website, or we're in the process of putting it all together, so you'll be able to find it there. But thank you, everybody, for everything that you've done, to the Board of Commissioners, to the county, and all of our citizens, and my employees. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate everything.
Good evening. I am Kim Franz, Director of Programs and Events for Cobb Travel and Tourism. We are happy to be here tonight, celebrating all the great things that are happening in our county. As the official destination marketing organization for Cobb, Cobb Travel and Tourism works every day to bring visitors to our community. We believe in Cobb County and the many assets our community offers. Where else can you find the incredible diversity of attractions, entertainment, dining, accommodations, and venues but in Cobb County? That's one reason we call Cobb Atlanta's sweet spot. Tourism continues to economically impact Cobb in undeniable ways. Tourism is the welcome mat and front door to our community. Tourism as a whole is the largest economic driver in Cobb at $2.2 billion. In fact, tourism supports more than 23,800 jobs in Cobb County. I'll say that again, 23,800 jobs in Cobb County. Over the past few years, as the Cobb Travel and Tourism team has grown and evolved, so has our vision for the future. And we aren't the only ones. Many have been retrospective, introspective, and forward-looking, trying to answer questions centered around diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. We must start looking through a different lens. Our lens starts with the definition of hospitality, which is the friendly reception and treatment of guests or strangers. I'll say that again too. The friendly reception and treatment of guests or strangers. With that definition, how can we, as a hospitality industry, not be friendly to all, no matter who they are, what they look like, how they enter our front doors, in a wheelchair, with a service animal, or on 2 feet? How can we, as a hospitality industry, not receive and treat guests or strangers as we would want to be treated? Cobb Travel and Tourism decided to see and seize the opportunity to weave hospitality in the hospitality definition into the fabric of how we tell Cobb's story. At the end of last year, we launched our new initiative that embraces Cobb Unity. Cobb Unity is a created word. It is the merging of two words, actually, Cobb and community. Cobb Unity is more than just a campaign. It is a commitment to say that individuality is important and that all are welcome. We believe it is our responsibility to highlight Cobb, attractions and venues, and their accessibility. It is up to us to let people know where they can bring their dogs and their wheelchairs. It is up to us to have our arms wide open to people of all walks of life, genders, races, faith, and socioeconomic groups. It is our responsibility to tell Cobb's unity story within hospitality and tourism. For us, Cobb Unity speaks to arts, music, sports, conventions, trade shows, groups, attractions, venues, filmmakers, and more. Because for us, we are all y'all.
Cultural roots grow deep here in the South. Many have come before to clear a path, blaze a trail, and pave the way, so that our future generations need not bear the burdens of the past, rather inspire. Lead and live by example, enabling the Cobb community to grow, and our unique members to work as one, thrive as one, and be as one, while embracing and celebrating individuality. We are unified by our desire to shine, passion for life, and a place where we are all y'all. Our Southern charm coexists with pride, and it won't wear off.
We are the bold. We are the proud.
We are the Cobb Unity. And the best of Atlanta is right here.
I am now delighted to introduce and welcome to the stage the chairwoman of Cobb County's Board of Commissioners, Ms. Lisa Cupid.
Thank you.
I thought I'd start off tonight a little bit different and started off with you in the audience. And I thought it's important for me to, because many times you may see me as your chair of Cobb County, and I really want to let you know that I am a resident of Cobb first. I too am a taxpayer. Some people don't think I pay taxes. I am your neighbor. I am a mom of 2 boys. I am a wife of a very handsome husband, a wife of a very handsome husband. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say handsome husband so fast that I forgot my wife. I am a daughter. I ride over the same potholes you ride over. I get excited when new amenities come to my community like you do. I'm your chair, and I get excited about our county's successes. But when you get frustrated about some things in Cobb, so do I. And I want you to know that although I'm chair of Cobb, that I'm with you in Cobb. Sometimes I think when you become elected officials, and I'm sorry, elected officials, I think you go from being a neighbor, and then when you win the election, all of a sudden you get little horns on the top of your head and you become the other. I'm with you. I love my county. And I believe that it's important sometimes for us to sit with you and see what you see, to remind ourselves. And I don't mind the humility that I get in my seat, because that just reminds me that none of us ever really get too high when we serve in leadership. In fact, it's our humility that connects us with our neighbor. And it allows us to not just help the rich, as I believe Amjad said, but to think about those who really don't get that much help at all, to think about the humble. And I'm humbled to be with you. In fact, this is a new format. When I first came on as chair, we didn't provide this address for our citizens directly for free. We provided it for pay. And you had to come to one of our partner meetings with our chamber to get this update. And it was important to me to make it accessible to you, because I'm only here because of you. No, really, if you don't elect me, I won't be here. So I thought at least you should get the update, because I am beholden to you. So I'm very grateful, and just thank you, and just ask that you join me in giving you a round of applause for being here tonight. I think some others that are deserving of a round of applause are our men and women in public safety. Can you help me in joining everyone giving them a round of applause? To imagine an incident that happened in another county that creeped over boundary lines to Cobb and was pinpointed to a specific parcel and property in Cobb within a matter of hours? Huh? You know all the places you can hide just in one house? My children could probably hide from me for hours, and we found them. They did a great job, guys. They made Cobb County look great. I had people texting me that they saw the police chief on CNN before I did. They didn't even live here, but they were excited for Cobb County. So we are on the map, and it's not solely because we have a national baseball team, but we have some incredible men and women who are doing great things for us. And you see an image here. This is our real-time crime center in Cobb County that enables us to use technology to be able to pinpoint crime a lot easier. And those of you who know me know that I tend to be a little bit candid. How candid can I be tonight? Can I be candid? Okay. You know there's heck to pay when you're candid, but I think there's heck to pay when you're not. But, you know, for everything there's a pro and a con, right? And I think what we saw yesterday signifies significant positive direction of where public safety is going in Cobb County. I say that because we're using technology in a way that allows us to address crime and pinpoint specific individuals without making whole communities suspect. Isn't that a good thing? I also think it's important to recognize they apprehended a gunman that shot multiple people, killing one, and they did not return the same use of force. And I candidly say this was a person of color, because I've been in rooms in Cobb County where we said, we don't get out of these incidents alive. And I think there was a time in the county where the rhetoric would have supported, you just have to do what you have to do. And I think for them to bring that man in peacefully and allow him to face justice in a court of law should make us all feel really good, really good. I know some people you can't look at the wrong way without them giving you the business. That's where I grew up in Metro Detroit. Sometimes I still think you can't step on somebody's shoe with somebody. Hello, what up, though? Yes. But to think that the same violence that he brought was brought with a level of professionalism, respectability, I think was excellent of our public safety. And let me tell you another thing that I think is remarkable. If you look at this picture here, who's in the upper left-hand corner? You see Mayor Dickens. And who's in the center of that picture? Cobb County. How many times, I know probably not all of you, if you've come to a commission meeting and heard people bemoan regionalism, that we don't want to hear what the people in the other region are doing, we want Cobb to be Cobb, God forbid we have any connectedness to the ARC or the region. What we did yesterday was a sign of having strong relationships in the region. And I think this debunks that myth that Cobb County is some place that will be successful on an island. We derive our success by being in part of a vibrant region, and our connectedness helped to make this happen within hours. Can you imagine if we didn't have that relationship, how long this would have taken? This is positive shift, a paradigmatic shift in how we connect here, and that makes me feel really good. What also makes me feel really good is I'm not here by myself tonight. You showed up. And there's some other great people that showed up today, and our county manager recognized a lot of people who are here, and I just want to also make sure that I thank some people as well. I want to thank my staff for their yeoman's effort in organizing tonight's event. They told me, Lisa, just show up. And that's what I did, and it was very hard. So please help me in thanking them. I'd also like to thank all of our volunteers and our vendors. Our volunteers, can you please stand and be recognized? I believe a lot of you are with Cobb 101 who are here today. Thank you. Cobb 101 is our citizen education program. I also want to thank our county staff, many that I've seen here today. Thank you for your commitment and pride in serving Cobb County. I felt like when I sat here and heard everybody speak, I didn't even know that I wanted to come up here. I felt like they said it all. And I think it's because what we do is a team effort. Nobody does anything great by themselves. It requires other people doing it. And even though sometimes we do get the place of honor being elected official, I think Cobb County could run without us because they get elected officials all the time. Seriously. And we keep doing good things. Somebody laugh because they know it's the truth. They know it's the truth. But for the moment that we're here, we do what we can. I want to thank all of our elected officials who are here tonight. Thank you for accepting the call to lead at a time like this. I want to thank the leadership of our new city of Mableton. If you can stand and be recognized, please. Oh my gosh, they are sitting together. We are going to clap that this remains as they continue serving, that they remain together. That's a beautiful thing. Wouldn't our nation be a good nation if our elected leaders came together? I love it. You're laughing because you know it's true. I also want to thank our veterans for your service. And you can stand. I had a veteran appointee one time who was such in awe that he got to serve overseas and come back and serve at home. Thank you for your service, and thank you for not finding it beneath you to be involved in local matters when you've been serving our nation. I also want to thank all of our clergy who are here today, thank you for being committed and uplifting our county with virtue. After the third invocation, I was like, what do I have to say? It was beautiful. I feel like everything that I felt about why I wanted to run to help unite this county, for everybody to feel like they make a difference, they spoke to it. That was amazing. Thank you to our members of the clergy. Just beautiful words of conviction. I want to also thank my family for their help and support, their continual sacrifice, so that I can answer the call that's on my life. I have my parents who are here today. May you stand and be recognized, Mark and Yvonne Smith. My mom's not even looking at me. She's like, why did she do this? She's not even looking at me. I'd like to thank my beautiful husband of going on 21 years. We're about to be legal. Please stand, Craig Cupid. Who's that cheering loudly for my husband? So I could just... Why am I like this? I think I'm not getting enough sleep. Many people... I try to reserve the funny for my family, maybe because they're here. I don't know why I'm acting like this. You're supposed to be reserved. My family only gets the funny, I'm serious. Is it okay? Okay. I'd like to thank my beautiful boys who already know I'm crazy. Nehemiah and Noah, please stand, be recognized. Thank you for being here. I trumped soccer tonight, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Look, we are so blessed, and I feel so blessed to be in the room with you, with my family, my neighbors, my friends, my peers, those that I'm called to serve here in Cobb County. And as I shared before, the reason I ran for office is for what I've seen today. Because I wanted to be all in Cobb. I wanted everyone to feel like Cobb's success reached them, irrespective of demography or geography, that no matter where you lived or what you look like, that the story of Cobb's success was a part of your story of success. And I'm just grateful that I see us heading, if not being, in that direction. And we have a lot of success that can be shared. We live in a vibrant, a strong county that continues to grow. We've added 5,000 people in 1 year. We've attracted new businesses. I'm talking about on the heels of a pandemic. Do you remember 2020 and 2020, 2 that happened in 2022? Last year, in January, we were still in the throes of the Omicron variant. I know, because I had Omicron. We have come a long way in a short amount of time, but that doesn't mean that the pandemic still isn't with us. Many people lost loved ones during the pandemic, and many people lost a way of life during the pandemic. And I still think that we are facing the impact of that today. So as I talk about the goodness in Cobb, I can't neglect the fact that some of us are still dealing with COVID, whether you medically are dealing with long COVID or you somehow just haven't come back, right? You may not have been able to go back to the same job and are having difficulty. That house that you loved isn't so nice when you can't afford it. That car isn't really so nice when it's hard to maintain it. And while many of us some of us are thriving here. I think it's important that we not forget those who are surviving here. And so being all in, to me, is being real about who we are, which is why I'm glad that the ARC was here. My apologies to the ARC. They usually have a tremendous slide presentation, and there were some technical difficulties tonight. But I try to reality set my presentation so we can see data, so we can be honest about what we're working with. Because I don't think we could really talk credibly about where we're going unless we know who we are. And data helps to point that out. I also think it's important for us to be intelligent decision makers, use data, plan, so that we're not doing things haphazardly. I think it's important that we are innovative, that we don't just always do things the same way thinking it's going to work all the time or make us better, or at least keep up to where people are going. I think it's important that we're inclusive, and I think it's important that we invest in our county. We can go to the next slide, and then we'll be talking about integrity in our county. And I'm going to speed up because I don't like people sitting still while I instill. I don't like that. Integrity. Integrity, again, we want to do right. We want to be right. That doesn't mean we're perfect, but we try to be honest about where we can be better. That's what I mean when I say integrity. If we go to our next slide. Talk to you about COVID. We can skip that. COVID was with us. Last year, we lost our former chair. So we didn't just lose a sense of normalcy. We lost people that we knew. And I want to pay honor and respect to our former chair. And when he came on board, I used to say he was a light, which is why I think that picture is very important. We lost 2 deputies, and there is a memorial service for those who've lost their lives in public safety today. Let's not forget Deputy Koleski and Deputy Irvin. Let's not forget their families who are still with us. Some of you knew our good friend, Bob Wise, who was very active in Cobb and a staunch supporter of diversity, equity, inclusion, who used to sit in meetings sometimes, and then when he didn't make it to BOC meetings, apologized to me for not being there. And I'm like, you're not on the board, it's okay. But that's how much of a supporter he was. He was full of energy and light, just like that picture. Oh, I got to this a little quick, but it's okay. Speaking of integrity, we had some tough things happen to Cobb. I mean, really tough. We had some things that undermined who we were, our construct as a county. We had an attempt to shift district lines, which happen every time there's a census. We know that happens. But what we know doesn't happen is that you change the district lines right when somebody gets elected so that they cannot serve. We know that doesn't, yes. I want to commend our county attorney's office for helping us lead the fight of doing what is right. We can go back. Let's clap for them. I think I heard one clap. Continue that clap. I would like to thank and commend Commissioner Richardson, who's here tonight, and ask her to please stand. She's also vice chair. And I apologize in my thanks. I know a number of commissioners couldn't be here this evening. This is a very busy night, but I thank you for being here. And I need to thank her, not just for the fact that she's here, but if you came to our Board of Commissioners meetings, and if you heard the rhetoric about her being here and serving on the board, and you seen how she sat there cool as a cucumber and still was business as usual, she deserves excellent applause. I told her I don't know how you do it. I I really don't. She does a great job. And we still have an ongoing legal battle from a sitting commissioner on our board with respect to her. And she sits there cool as a cucumber and passes issues in every district. Woman of integrity. Thank you. Thank you for being a model. We've also had something that was unprecedented, I want to say, I believe in any county in Georgia. And you can go to the next slide, to have 4 cities being considered at this 4 cities being considered at the same time. Now, I grew up in the grassroots of Cobb County, and I know this is a grassroots effort, but it really felt like people were ushering in wholesale changes to what they perceived to be different, not just new, but different leadership in our county. And we've had one successful effort that I do recognize tonight, and know that with everything that transpired, that I'm committed, our full board is committed, our staff is committed to making sure that the city of Mableton is a success. We are fully committed. It will be our county's 7th city. It will be our county's most populous city, and it will be our county's most diverse city. And we have such an opportunity for them to be a shining example of how a city runs well and works in partnership with the county. And I look forward to working with all of you who are here tonight. We can go on. With all the changes that have occurred in Cobb, that I think really hit to the construct of our county and has made just things challenging. You have COVID, just have general issues that occur. Then you have a commissioner you don't know is going to be there. Then you don't know if your entire financial construct or citizen construct of your county is going to change. And you're dealing with that while trying to run a county. And I think it's important that, yes, I think there was an emotional response to a lot of it, but that we still made smart decisions. And we were data-driven, and we planned what we were going to do. So we didn't throw people off guard, that we were at least transparent and open about responding to the concerns of citizens and getting Cobb to where it needs to go. So we have multiple plans and initiatives going on. We had our strategic plan, and I commend our county manager for her leadership in saying we have got to get everybody on the same page. I don't think for the years that I've been here that we've had a strategic plan that we've all followed up. And now we're working together, and we've engaged many of our citizens to help us determine where to go, and we did this with a partnership with Accenture. I also commend our staff for working on a performance audit. I was very nervous about our financial standing, and before I ever went to the taxpayer and asked you for a tax increase, I just wanted to make sure we had our house in order and that we were being as efficient as possible. Because I know how Cobb County is. We like our taxes low. And I like my taxes. I said I'm a taxpayer. And I just think it's important that we're always are striving not to provide the best service, but do it as effectively and efficiently as possible. So this is going to give us an opportunity to see, are there opportunities for us so that we can come to you with confidence as we are moving our county forward. Also, we have a diversity assessment. And this started with the leadership of United Way. How many people participated in our diversity assessment, our equity study? Just 2. Well, thank you too. Thank you too. If I were to equate that to our population, that's still a strong number. Just proportion that out. We've had hundreds of our citizens participate in our racial equity initiative, and that was followed by thousands of people that participated in our diversity assessment that was initiated by United Way of Cobb County. And I commend them. If anybody's here from United Way, you can please stand so we can recognize you. We know them to serve, but oh yes, wonderful. We know United Way to serve, but I think that they have their eyes open and seeing the things going on here in Cobb and saw opportunity. And so they commissioned a study to see how healthy we are when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they will be providing an assessment. They'll be providing a presentation regarding that. Oh, you can go back, Chris, I'm sorry. They will be providing information to our Board of Commissioners with respect to that later this month. We've also had a disparity study. If any of you are a minority or women or disabled veteran-owned businesses in Cobb County, we wanted to make sure that you knew that Cobb County was open for business. We started looking at these numbers when we built the Brave Stadium. Well, really, if you have federal dollars for transportation, you look at your DBE or your minority or women-owned spend. But when we built the Truist Park, we looked at how many people were participating who had minority-owned, women-owned, or veteran-owned businesses, and it seemed like a good practice to just continue into what we did in Cobb. And so I thank our Board of Commissioners for funding a disparity study where we could not just talk about this as a good thing to do, but we can actually provide data showing us what percentages of those businesses should be participating in our contracts for us to be equitable. And so I really think that this is going to help move us in the right direction and making sure all of our businesses here in Cobb County can succeed. We also have the Unified Development Code, and that is helping us to update our code to make it easier for our developers and our citizens to understand our guidelines around zoning. And we've had a housing study, as the ARC talked about affordable housing is an issue. We wanted to get data so that we didn't just come to you with an emotional appeal about our housing, but that we showed you where our housing was. And just today, I got an email saying, Lisa, I had a flyer on my car when I left my job, and there's a campaign of people that are going to be reaching out to you to tell you they don't want affordable housing in Cobb County. But I wanted to let you know I live in East Cobb, and I think you're doing a good job, and we need affordable housing in Cobb County. I just want to let you know that to address what we already know is a need, there's a corresponding effort to fight against it. And I don't want to fight this battle by myself, and really I can't. It takes a majority of the board to do it. But if you can help, let us know you'd like to afford where you live, and you might be mindful of your neighbor affording where they live. You might be able to counteract all those flyers that went out on those cars to tell us what they don't want in Cobb County. All right, we can go to the next slide. We've been assessing the change in weather patterns and how that's impacting everyone, including stormwater in Cobb County. And so our water systems director is looking at what we can do to more equitably fund stormwater. You're paying for stormwater right now in your tax bill. Everybody's just paying the same rate, irrespective of how they contribute to it. But it's the surfaces that are impervious, that are impermeable, that water can't soak through, like your roof. You hope water doesn't go through your roof. Your driveways, the roadways, water can't just flow into the ground there, so it finds somewhere else to flow. And so we put an infrastructure to carry that water away. Well, if you have more asphalt, you have more impervious surface. If you're Cumberland Mall, you have more impervious surface than you do somebody on Silver Mine Crossing. And so we're looking at how we can make it more equitable. They're actually going out and measuring the amount of impervious surface and properties in Cobb, so that when we roll this out, people will understand what you're already paying for, and that will be equitable, and we can use these funds to update and augment our funding for stormwater. It doesn't seem like a sexy thing to fund rainwater. Somebody said, I don't want a rain tax. I'm trying not to be as funny. But that's what some people call it, a rain tax. But the reality is, if we do not build infrastructure to carry stormwater away from your home, it's possible you might have flooding around where you live. And that just looks like a grate. But underneath it is a very costly system conveying water away from where it should not be pooling. And so I'm hoping that you will see it's beyond a rain tax, and it's really a life tax when you face risk of having flooding in your home. And those of us who've experienced severe flooding, if you live in South Cobb and we had those historic 500-year floods, or even East Cobb more recently, this is important. We can go to the next slide. Voting. Doesn't it feel good to not be running for office again, those able to know? Ooh. We've had some challenges with voting in Cobb County. We've been having challenges with voting just even from the 2020 elections with a record year turnout, and wanting to get those lines down and making sure we're being better stewards. And then as we thought we were getting that process perfected and paying people more so they want to serve at the polls, then we had a new state law, which is now truncating the amount of time that we have to approve and assess and mail out ballots. And this created a strain for us. And in Cobb, we pride ourselves in being the best. But we made, what I would say, some missteps. And we are working on it because we're our county of integrity. And so our internal audit is working with Cobb Elections, and I'm grateful for their path forward. Ways, how many people have gotten an email about your hauler and that we were going to take your hauler away from you in Cobb County? Not one? Not one? Okay, this is a different meeting. Okay, I see some hands. Because I got over 1,000 emails from people frustrated about changes we wanted to make to our hauling system. We found out that we have residents in Cobb who live in scenarios or roadways or parts of the community that were not getting any hauler service. Can you imagine not getting any trash service and what that looks like? And then we found out that some haulers were not coming regularly. And so we wanted to strengthen our support for making sure everyone had waste service. And in getting feedback from our haulers, we put in a provision for them to come together, and now they are teaming up to provide a website that will help them be responsive to everyone in the county, and I'm happy about that. Mental health is a big issue. You heard a lot about it from our speakers today. We're doing our work to address it. We can move on. We've had 25 years of having really good tax credit rating here in Cobb. It allows us to borrow money minimally if we need to borrow it at all. And we owe honor to our leadership in the county over the past 25 years, and particularly our finance department. Move on. CALEA. This is accreditation for public safety. They received a TRIAC award. 3 of our departments are now certified to a gold standard of how they operate in public safety. Yes. Our Emmy office. A few years ago, we were having some challenges with our Emmy office that a citizen brought to our attention. And we brought on Dr. Gullidge and asked him to heal all of our woes. And he did that. Just this past year, we were accredited, and he's got a state-of-the-art medical examiner to support him in his work in making sure that at the vulnerable time in people's lives that they aren't dealing with issues from this office. And I want to thank him for his work and our citizens for bringing this issue to our attention, particularly Tom Cheek. So move on. Thank Water. They continue to be recognized by the EPA for their work in providing water in Cobb and educating people about water. Can we move on? And, you know, if you're making intelligent decisions in Cobb, you got some smart people. And I just want to recognize, these people have been recognized in our county or by the state. Dr. McMorris, last year, she was I don't even have to say what she did. They just like her. She was Woman of the Year for Live Safe Resources. Bill Volkman, he led us in having triple AAA credit rating again for the past few years, and thank him and his team for their outstanding work. Our EMA director, Emergency Management Agency, she was Director of the Year for the state of Georgia. Melissa Alterio, 911 Director of the Year for the state of Georgia. And Kimberly White, she led us in receiving platinum status with the Atlanta Regional Commission for our work in sustainability. We're only one of 2 counties to do that. I'm going to move on very quickly. To be an intelligent county, you always want to make things better. And I think that leads us to want to be an innovative county. And we've had a lot of innovation to occur here, led by our information systems and all their work that they do to support our departments with new technology. We see new technology in some of our other departments. You can move on to the next slide. Our call center, our COVID call center is now going to become a 300, well, I'm gonna say 365, a 311, so I was gonna say 365 day of the year, but I don't know if you could call it on the holidays. But we are turning it into a citizen call center that you can use beyond a pandemic. So we're excited about that. We can move on to the next slide, Chris. PCR testing. You can now do your own COVID test, and instead of just getting the rapid test result, you can get the PCR true standard test done by just dropping off your test in one of these kiosks, which is located at the Riverside Epicenter in Austell. We have text so that you can get your building permitted or your renovation in your home permitted. Do you remember when you have to call and try to get somebody on the phone and then wait a day and then wait a week? Well, wait no more. You can text this number at the bottom of your schedule and have that occur quite quickly to get service for your home or your business or project. And Sabrina, you heard from her today. She was innovative in revamping our small business grant process to make it easier for our businesses. We've also updated our incubator. It's now Hatchbridge, and it's located on KSU's campus. And you can go there if you have a small business or are including innovation in your business. We are going to be bringing transit that's connected to the region in Cobb through the express lanes on I-285. We had a historic, here is smattering. This is a historic effort between Gwinnett County, Cobb County, DeKalb County, Fulton County, and the mayors along I-285 to say we've got to do something to move people in the region. And through funding that we received through ARPA, specifically for transit, we'll be looking at adding transit to the express lanes that are going to be on the top arc of I-285. These are similar to the express lanes that you can take on 75 and 575. Cumberland, the Cumberland CID, they are looking to add an autonomous vehicle to a 3-mile stretch in the Cumberland area, so look out for that. And we talked about the Real-Time Crime Center, which is helping our police fight crime using data. We can skip all these slides because everybody covered this already. We're an inclusive county, or becoming so. We have a lot of people who are championing this. We have our disparity study for businesses. We have Chrysalis Lab that's helping us with our study. We have an international festival that takes place every year. Our sheriff celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month. We've had clergy that are coming together from different walks of faith, and that was our first clergy meeting, and we just had our second one yesterday. Yes. And lastly, I think it's important that if we're a strong county, we just want to be a county that people invest in. And I'm grateful for all the investment that we're making. Our Board of Commissioners, us 5 women, passed a $1.2 billion budget last year. We've done some amazing things, and one of the things I'm proudest of is we upped our minimum salary for our employees. Cobb County is one of our state's most populous and affluent and educated counties, but if you work for Cobb County, in some departments, you are making about $9 an hour. And we did work to up the minimum salary. I shared it in my State of the County address, and it was met with some controversy, but I felt like if you work in Cobb County, you should be able to afford to live in Cobb County. So we upped that $9 salary, and the minimum salary you can get in Cobb County is now $17 an hour. That's Cobb County government. Don't go to McDonald's and ask them to pay you $17 an hour on Cobb Parkway. This is for Cobb County government. And your salary is going to go up to $35,500, which may not be much to some of us, but if you were making $9 an hour, it's a heck of a lot. And so this is one of the things I'm proudest of, because how do you think you're going to get great service if we are paying people in a not so great way? The two just don't correlate. I'm also excited you heard about our ARPA investment. We've had $90 million we distributed to 80 nonprofits that are going to be doing work similar to what you heard here today to help us recover from the pandemic. I'm happy about that. Those were the buckets that we're going to have funding in. We have a lot of money going out to our citizens. We have doled out more than $50 million to keep a roof over our citizens' heads, helping over 500 families after the pandemic. We continue to provide resources and programming to our citizens through fire. They go out and inspect people's alarms. We have systems where you can bring your children to our safety village. They have served over 25, I want to say, was it 25,000 number I've seen? Kids in elementary school have gone through our safety village to find out how you can, to find out how they can help prevent emergencies in their home. We have thousands of events through public safety and through public services every year. Libraries, they're doing something every day. Just look at the Cobb calendar. We have boosted our staff to respond to code enforcement concerns. We are doing whatever we can to serve the citizens with the level of service that we think that you deserve, and I'm proud of that. Some people we're specifically serving are our youth. We've graduated our first class of youth commissioners here in the county, and we are in our second class, which they will graduate next week. We've also had the longest class ever of Cobb 101. Any Cobb 101 graduates here? Our third class of Cobb 101 finally graduated. They now know more about the county than I do. You can actually apply if you want to be a part of that. I believe applications are due in August. Cobb Senior Services celebrated 50 years of service, and they had an expo that was rejuvenated to provide information to seniors and let them know about different organizations here in our county that are serving seniors. We can move on. Our veterans, we have been investing in our veterans. We've opened up a new Veterans Affairs office here in our county. We have Connecting Cobb Veterans, which is the organization that we funded through our ARP grant. We've opened up a center to help veterans who are returning to our county to get help for employment or going back to school or other types of training, and that's going to be at Chattahoochee Tech's campus off of South Cobb Drive. And we continue to do more in their efforts to build a Veterans Memorial for our veterans. And we thank the businesses and those in our state legislature who've been providing significant donations to support that effort. Cobb County, we're growing. Look at all these jobs we added here. This represents over $2 billion worth of investment that took place in Cobb just last year through our partnership with Select Cobb, adding over 2,000 jobs to our economy. Go to the next slide. We also have job readiness training through Cobb Works for free. I'm just pausing so you can look at what you can be trained in for free. You want to work on computers? You want to manage insurance? Do you want to be in logistics? You want to be a CNA, a medical assistant, project management professional? You can do this for free through Cobb Works. Reach out to them through cobbworks.org. We're going to have a program on Saturday. They are looking to hire 500 youth. You can go to the next slide. Between the ages of 15 to 24. I wish my 14-year-old was 15. I'd take him there tomorrow. Go to the next. You could go to the next slide. He wants money more than I want him to have money. You can kickstart your career with the BOSS program. They talked about it. They are having a match up. Anybody 15 to 24, they're matching them with jobs on Saturday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's going to be at the Grogan Community Center in downtown Marietta. Yes, anybody need to take a picture of that? All right, good. Put it back. Let them take a picture. I'm serious. That's good stuff right there. Our ARPA grant that we got, that we're giving out to organizations helping to fund that. And thank you for your support for our SPLOS program. Our SPLOS program is expected to net $750 million to build projects here in the county. And I'm proud of our board for renewing our agreement with our Coliseum Authority so that we can support the Performing Arts Center here in Cobb and also the Galleria. We want to grow in Cobb. We need to invest in Cobb. It's important not just for today, but for our future, and I'm grateful for all the efforts with sustainability that we have in Cobb. Our employee, Kimberly White, who I recognize for helping us get platinum status, we just bestowed upon her the honor of leading the county in sustainability. And Kimberly, I thank you for doing that, because I know that's where your passion is. Your SPLOS program also helps with helping us maintain our facilities, and I'm grateful that our board put aside funds to make sure we are maintaining our facilities on an annual basis. If we want to be good stewards of your tax dollars, we can't continue to rob capital maintenance and then think you're going to have a great facility for all these great services. So I'm happy that we funded this for the second year in a row. Now I've talked about some great things, but I need to talk about some opportunities, and we're going to close tonight out. Because some of you really are not here to hear me. Some people are getting awards tonight, and you just want to see your loved one walk across the stage, and I respect that. I respect that. But we do have some opportunities in Cobb. I would like to say it's all sunshine and roses, and maybe those that aren't roses yet will become so. But we have opportunity when it comes to addressing opioid abuse. As you heard, Cobb has led the state when it comes to opioid deaths. And there is now funding that is taking place through lawsuits of different manufacturers and pharmacists and distributors of opioids, and Cobb is going to be on the receiving end of that. And I'm asking for your help in ensuring that we are able to address this issue by working with our agencies here in the county and our partners in the community. Mental health is also a serious issue. In fact, it was connected to the incident that occurred yesterday. And so there will be ongoing efforts to make sure we're addressing this. Something that's near and dear to my heart that I can't go another year with us doing more to provide cold weather shelter for our residents here in Cobb who live outdoors. When I run to my car and put my heat on in 25-degree weather and run into my house and throw that heat on, there's some people who have no place to go in our county for reprieve. And we are too affluent and successful of a county to let anybody die on these streets here. We just can't. I know we can do it, not just because we're Cobb, but because other municipalities are doing it. So I believe we can do it. And it's gonna take us being a little creative. I wanna thank Must Ministries. They were at our clergy or faith leaders breakfast yesterday, and they shared that they'd be willing to talk to other churches about how they can open their doors. And they partnered with 2 churches last year. If you are interested in your church providing a cold weather shelter, that would be awesome, because even what we can't do as a county government, I know that we can tackle together. We just can't allow this to continue here. Another issue that we have here is transit in our county. We have opportunity to build a transit system to help take the 80% of the people that depend on our buses to go to school and to work, not to rob a bank or your home. I think we could do a better job of transporting them through the county and the region. As our Cobb Works director said to a group of people yesterday, transit is economic development. You can't get to work, you don't eat, you don't bring money in, you don't have a home over your head. And she has a number of clients who simply cannot get to her facility because they don't have access to transit. But transit is not just about need, it's about opportunity. I try not to use my family as an example much, but my husband and I have taken transit to Atlanta by choice. How many of you have worked in the city and know paying for parking is expensive? And when I used to work in a federal building downtown, I would get off at 5 Points and I would be able to get in the building faster than I could and less expensive than I could looking for parking and getting in a building. And a lot of businesses are recognizing the ease of getting their employees to work reliably when they're on a transit system. So transit is not just economic development for the individual, it's also for our businesses to be attracted here. And you saw those lists of businesses. We want that to continue, right? We want them to continue coming to Cobb. So I'm asking for your consideration of our transit referendum that we will put on the ballot next year, and for you to consider what it could do for Cobb County. We will have other issues that come up throughout our time here. We still deal with the polarity that comes with all the changes that are here. We deal with political polarity that comes. I shudder to think maybe it's gender or demographic, but I tell you, I've never seen prior boards of commissioners get treated the way that we do. I have never seen it. And I'll take it because, you know, nobody ever said that serving in this role would be easy. And to be honest, I've got more important things to do than to sit here and read a gossip column about what people think the BOC is doing, or to get my panties in a bunch when people come and criticize us during public comment. We have lives to help. We have a county to move forward. We have agencies to run. We have a difference to make in our future. But still, it's a shame because I think, what if somebody wants to come into Cobb and they open up the paper or they check out a BOC meeting? They might think we're bass-ackwards. I'm serious. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. So I'm asking you, if you could fill the seat tonight, maybe consider filling a seat on a second and fourth Tuesday. I saw that hand, Matt Segal. He's been a champion. I'm asking you to come to one of our meetings. For one thing, you just gotta come just to see. I don't look like this. I look just like this when I'm up there. But if I was in the audience, I'd be like, it's disrespect. It's disrespect. And the simple truth of the matter is, there's different people leading this county. People ask for a servant leader, and I don't know who serves more than women. And if women can serve in the home, I guess we've been prepared to lead all this time. I could be more candid, but I won't. Help us. And not help us that we need you to cry for us. I don't need somebody to tell me you feel sorry for us. We knew this job was tough, but I feel sorry about those that think that this is Cobb County. That's what I feel bad for. I feel bad when the Boy Scouts sit there and see behavior that they know wouldn't even be tolerated in the classroom. Come to our meeting. Come watch first, because you got to soak it in. Then when you get the confidence, come up and speak and counter that narrative about who people are trying to say Cobb is, who they're representing. That's not who we are. We're a county that's moving forward. We're a diverse county. We're a county that cares about everyone. I didn't have to tell you. They told you through many presentations tonight before I spoke today. So I'm asking you to please help us in letting people know that Cobb is all in. We want everybody to be included in Cobb County's success. We have so much more to do, and I believe that we will do great things if we do it together. We'll do it. Thank you so much for being here tonight for the state of the county. If you want to come see this presentation at the chamber, you can. And if you want to see some people get some pretty cool awards who are doing cool stuff in the county, continue to hang out with us. We're going to have some all-in awards that I'm going to present, and just ask that some of you, if you can, hold a little bit tight. I want to recognize those people who are leading in our county. Those serving with integrity, I'm going to honor first. And our first award goes to Dr. Memark of Cobb Douglas Public Health. Dr. Memark, she powered through. If you've ever watched our meetings, and you know there's people on many sides of what we should do with respect to COVID, but she powered through to provide data and information so that we can keep our county healthy and so that we can keep our hospitals running and not overburdened. Thank you so much. Someone who I don't think got their flowers when they were due, but I want to make sure she gets it tonight, is our former school board member, Sharice Davis. Sharice Davis spoke on behalf of all families in Cobb County schools, and particularly families of color in Cobb County schools. And she was passionate, and she did not get the support, and to me, I think the respect that she deserved being there. And she powered through her term, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for showing us how it's done. I hope this individual is here tonight, but I mentioned him in my speech. Our third All-In Cobb Award goes to Mr. Tom Cheek. Mr. Tom Cheek, he's the one that came to every board meeting to let us know that we needed to revamp our ME office, and we need to do it right now, after he experienced the death of his son and had tremendous challenge in dealing with the processes that follow. And it's because of him, I think, that drove our board to get to where we are today, where we're accredited. And so, Tom, I'm gonna get this to you, but I wanna thank you for helping us be the best we can be. The next award goes to Dr. Rad. He's the first in our intelligent category. Dr. Rad has been using data to help make sure that he's providing healthy services to all of his clients in the medical arena. The next award, also for making intelligent decisions, is Kim Schofield. Kim, are you here tonight? We thank you for serving our county and investing in them, particularly with your work with recognizing veterans and providing a veterans fair. And I don't know how many of you went to the veterans fair last year. There were, I want to believe, thousands of people who were here at Jim Miller Park, receiving everything from legal services to other information. I also want to recognize tonight Mr. Derek Brown. I believe you're here tonight. I want to recognize you for honoring those who are unseen in our community. We know we need to serve our most vulnerable, but I think he did something that I think helped to instill a sense of pride, where he would video record them and let them speak about their life and experiences. And so I think sometimes we don't humanize people who are suffering. We look at them as a statistic, and he was able to recognize them as individuals, and thank you for that effort. Now moving into our innovative category, and I'm sorry I don't have slips here that detail some of these awards. Tammy Thorpe, if you are here, please come get your award. And Ms. Narissa Dias, please come and get your award as well. Tammy, I believe you're coming up because of the innovation we've had in our elections office and the work that they're doing to strengthen the poll database. You know, it's one thing to need poll workers. It's another thing not to be able to get them in our system. And it's because of her efforts they're being processed more quickly so that we can better honor our voters. Narissa Dias, we thank you for your innovation as well. Also with Cobb Elections. Kimberly Haas, are you here tonight? Oh, Kimberly. I want to thank you for work in our community, and I believe you're helping our special needs. Seniors here in the county with technology. Yes, making sure they have laptops through the pandemic. Yes. And Mr. Desmond Bobbitt, are you here tonight? Come on up, Mr. Bobbitt. We thank you for your innovative efforts here in the county. I'm going to have you talk about it once you come up here. My mind is drawing a blank, but I know when we read it, we felt like you deserved it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Desmond Bobbitt, the principal and head of schools at the SAE School in Mableton. Project-based science, arts, and entrepreneurship, and just trying to be innovative and provide an innovative and great experience for all of our students.
Thank you. So he's here because of their work in sustainability, particularly in our grade school. Thank you. I recall reading that. Juan Violantes, are you here tonight? He's getting an award in inclusion for him being a business owner in Cobb and being intentional about hiring diverse staff. And we thank you for your work here and contribution to many efforts here in our county, including your ongoing support of public safety. We thank you, Ms. Martin. Are you here tonight? Jamita Martin. All right. And we also thank none other than Mr. Barry Smith. He is a pastor out here in Mableton. He received multiple nominations for his work in working with students and with different churches in the South Cobb area just to serve and help the place be better. Thank you for your work, Barry, and your passion. All right. I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher anyone's name. Is Miss Nikisha here today? Miss Nikisha Brundage Clark. Okay. Is Nancy Prochaska here today with Rotary? North Cobb Rotary has been investing in their community, and we are honoring them tonight. And then Marini Brown, are you here this evening? Thank you for investing in Cobb County through your work with your sorority and also your work with United Way. Yeah, congratulations. Now lastly, some people who get the overall all-in award. These people are just the model of what it is to be all-in Cobb, that we're doing this work before you are getting recognition and are getting recognized today. The first one goes to Miss Irene Barton. Miss Irene Barton is the head of Cobb Collaborative, and she will collaborate on anything. Where there's 2 or 3, Irene will collaborate it. And she's done everything from literacy to working with veterans to working with preschoolers and daycares, early learning, anything, voting. She has just been a model in our community of inclusiveness and in tackling just any issue that comes our way. Another person who's been all in for our young people in this county, investing time beyond what he gets paid for. I think he must get paid for it in heart, because he has a great heart for serving young people and helping them be the best that they can be, even if it takes yelling at them while they're running around a 400-meter track. It is none other than Cobb Pal Coach and also Cobb County Police Officer Lennox Clark. Please come join us. And he's moved up, so it might be Sergeant Clark. Are you Sergeant? Oh, Lieutenant Clark. Give him his due. Lieutenant Clark has coached hundreds of kids, some of which have gone on to compete in collegiate athletics and have gone on to just be better citizens here in our county. And I want to thank you for your dedicated service. He's also helped to coach my son, Noah Cupid, and I appreciate you working with him. Another person who is just all in, you see her everywhere. There's nothing that she doesn't support to help Cobb County be the best that it can be. And you know she is dedicated to our community, but also the Filipino community. Nominated more than once is Miss Arjo Turner. Soon as she came here, she got invited to her first public meeting, and she hasn't stopped going since and supporting people. Thank you. And this woman took on the honor of Woman of the Year this year, following Dr. McMorris, who needs very little introduction into Cobb County, is Miss Debbie Ganoscio. Please join us with Sweetwater Mission. Now, I promise there's a lot of people up here, and everybody didn't get an award, but a lot of people applied, and I wanted to make sure that we honored people in each of the categories this year, and particularly those who I believe just model who we ought to be as a county. I mean, if we have people that multiply like these people, Cobb County is going to be best positioned to have a very bright future, and I thank you, all of you. Please stand up there so I can get a picture with you, and then we'll conclude our evening. Thank you.